Thanks. Publication Studio is Patricia No and me, Matthew Stadler, and now a man named David Knowles. We make books. We make them fresh each day, just down the street. And it's partly we like books, but it's mainly that we're interested in publication, which we understand to be the creation of a public. A public, of course, is people. A public space is any place that we are all equally welcome to and equally have a claim on. One such space was this very room. You might recognize it in those pictures. When we first set up our machines that make books also one at a time, it was here because the Ace Hotel granted us the morning 6 a.m. to noon to make our books each day. They're perfect bound. You can see we print digitally off pretty cheap machines, $250 Kyocera printer. It's very good quality. That's being dipped in the glue on the right. Perfect bind, as you know, is hot glue usually, which then hardens to a conventional spine. We try to do things as plain and direct as we can, and so we use recycled file folder covers to make the covers of our books. In addition to being really available, they're also distinct because we don't do much to them. They're sturdy, they last a long time. They can also be pretty colorful. And what we do is to stamp them with rubber stamps to mark the name of the book and the author. Basically, all of our decisions as publishers is to try and do what we do well, to try and make a durable means for a public to gather, for people to recognize their common stake in something, in this case in a text, in a place that they all can enter into in common. It's a politically driven project. A public is more than a market. A public is in some ways different from a tribe, though I like that definition, that description as well. But a public has the potential to identify its own interests and to act together. It may not be led by a leader, but it might find its common space within a book. A book I find to be a much more politically powerful space than leader-driven movements, because a book does not claim a primary role for any one person. When you're in there as reader is your book. And that's the great thing about sending a book out into the public. It becomes yours. It becomes your space. So, in fact, we do send them out. It's a commercially driven project. We believe everyone should be paid. And we think you will be paid for your work. We charge about between $15 and $20 a book. The writers get about $5 per book. The designer of the book gets paid. The band who plays at the dinner where you get the book gets paid. We eat lunch together. We get paid in food, and we get paid in the money that we charge readers for books, because we believe a lot of the power of publishing is to create real economies, and that when you do work as a creative person or as any other important part of this economy, you should get a wage. Our wages lead to that elegant bicycle you see in front of our storefront down at 717 Southwest Ankeny Street. You can come by any day, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. We'll be in there making books and working with writers and artists on new books. We also make food. That's our friend making a pot of steamed mussels out front of the place, because another part of the work of publishing is to make a convivial space, a space of public gathering, and in my case to serve drinks. And in this, I'm serving drinks at a dinner for a writer named Lawrence Rinder. It happened actually, again, right here in this room. And another great resource about Portland is the abundance of ways that we have to get together and the great food we have to get together around. So with Publication Studio, we do make books, but we also make the situation in which you find yourself in public together. In this case, dinner for 50 in this room. The chefs got paid, the servers got paid. And in addition, the excellent band, that's not the next slide. But the point of the gathering was not only the pleasure of the food and the pleasure of the company, but a real discussion with the writer, in this case a man in Berkeley, California, who came up for the evening. A discussion that can connect you deeply to the writer and the book. Just as Greg was pointing out, conversation is such a much richer and more vibrant way to connect to the process of writing. There they are, Chervona, playing over in the alcove. We are interested in the way that public comes to form around a book, but we recognize that it happens not only in the material space of books, it happens in the social space that we're gathered in now, and it happens equally in digital space, which I guess is 2 slides from now. I go sometimes to distant places like Anacortes, Washington, to speak to rock shows. And on the other side, you see this very room again with the publication fair. We gather 24 projects here in Portland together to show what they're doing. And next Sunday, December 19th, you can come here for free and see those projects again, publication fair. We work with kids also, another important readership group. And making books one at a time, we can work with kids who make their own books and who bind them on our machines. The possibilities with IPRC were really wonderful when we were located so nearby. IPRC would bring a kid group over after they'd worked on zines at their place, and we'd bind them. As I said, the digital is an equal and important space for us to publish. Our site, like our books, is very plain. We try to keep it simple, and you'll see on the chalkboard whether we're open that day. Inside you'll find a store which presents the book, and you'll see in that green space something called a free reading commons. Every one of our books is available as an ebook or as a material book. We don't mind, read it the way that you can. And if you can't afford to buy it, you can click the green bar and read the whole book online. You can't, take it into your Kindle or take it with you, but you can read it there. And importantly, as you see in this representation of the free reading commons, you can annotate any book we have. So this space is a space in which you see other people's annotations. Sort of conversation of readers can be created around a book. And much like that pleasure in an old bookstore of finding a book with its marginal notes all written in, that can happen online too. A lot of the attention and the way that public has learned about our project, even though we're rooted right here in Portland, has been through the internet. Bang Back, also out of Pinball Publishing here in Portland, covered us. Artforum magazine ran a review of one of our books recently. The point being that when you do a small-scale project, your goals are not necessarily small-scale. Something like IPRC has global impact because IPRC is a unique and focused and principled project. We hope to operate the same way within commercial publishing, do something very focused, very clear, and thereby reach out and be legible to people all over, as you saw through bookstores as well. So thank you.